I did get their secretary, and they said that I'm one of 2 possible candidates. So I guess they'll. I asked it, will they call me back? And she said yes, but I also asked if I don't get a call from you within a week from now, can I call back and follow up again? And she said, of course. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what God does. I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to say the name of the school now that it's recording. So
all right, no, I get that.
That's fine. But no, it's potential. It is a potential.
Alrighty.
So I don't know. So if I went there, I would be 6th through 8th Bible teacher for four classes of that, and then I would be team teaching 3 classes of high school Bible.
Alrighty.
Which, my English class was half-time a Bible class anyway. It was just, practical application, and I use the excuse, the Bible's a book.
It is.
And this particular version is written in English.
Whether
you can understand it or not. And that's my job.
And even in a lot of secular colleges, it studies English lit. So.
Yeah. Well, I heard on a podcast today while I was at work, apparently at West Point, the chaplain is a graduate of, I think, Westminster Seminary or something.
Right.
And at every commencement that he oversees, every graduate from West Point gets a Bible with a silver nameplate stamped in the cover with their name on it. And he preaches, and it was John MacArthur who was talking about it. And he was saying one of the years I was invited to speak, and what I spoke on was the centrality of God's word in your life and the authority that it has. And I'm like, but that's at West Point. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That whoever is speaking for God and speaking for his word could be at that level in our country still today is, to me, phenomenal.
It is. Hopefully they can stay there.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope so anyway. I don't know if they're still there because that was a sermon that was preached by John MacArthur 2 days ago.
So probably.
And there's other stuff that I could get into about current events that he spoke on.
Right.
Because he's one of the few Christian speakers that I have heard in recent times that I'm like, thank you for actually saying what is true. Because there's been a lot of Christians lately that I'm I'm going to be honest, I don't think I have been this disappointed in my theological circles that I run in since I left my last church. And that was when I was 12.
Deeply affected when you were 12, were you?
Yeah, so much.
Man, your theology stinks. I'm out of here. Mom, drive me home.
I hate the way you stopped using the felt boards in Sunday school class. It's heresy.
Because Jesus loves some felt boards.
That's right.
Well, that's probably a great way to start, though. Because just a couple weeks ago, I actually posted a question on my Facebook page. Does the truth matter anymore?
I feel like most people would say no.
No, I think most people say yes, but then promptly go into a lie. One that they may or may not know is a lie.
Do you think that, I guess that's true, because I hear a lot of people, I guess the truth matters because they think it's the truth, but I feel like so many people talk about how relative everything is, and how, my truth, my experience. You don't know my experience.
Yeah,
but
my truth.
My truth is, is relevant. Your truth is not relevant.
Your truth, anybody's singular truth, my truth, your truth, is also known as a lie.
Right. But that's why I ask. If my truth is what matters, the truth doesn't matter.
Well,
and I guess you could get all metaphysical if you wanted, because there's this, the idea of Descartes and how do you know what is true, and can you possibly know actual objective truth? And I guess if you're really talking about that, the answer is no, because you have your own experience and your lens. But I personally think there are certain objective truths that you can know without a shadow of a doubt.
See, I was thinking about things like that, getting ready for this, and
you did some prep work.
I did actually.
In your chair,
because this is. Well, actually, this part was I was trying to fall asleep. It is there are facts and there is truth.
I like that. That's good.
All truth has to be a fact. Mm-hmm. All facts do not have to be truth. They have to be true, but not
not to be
truth.
the truth. So, as in, I felt this or I experienced this, whether that's the objective reality around you, it is what you felt or experienced.
Well, yes. Or something like gravity. It's a fact.
Yeah, I get
you
that.
throw a ball up in the air, it's going to fall back down. Is that true? Yes. Is it the truth? In a grand metaphysical sense? No, it's not.
Right, I get that.
And I would argue that in a lot of cases, the truth, certainly for us as Christians, and I believe universally, is what God says is the truth.
Yeah.
Like, this is the truth, this is the way it works, and facts can demonstrate that, but facts can never contradict that.
I'm waiting for this podcast to get really popular so that in like 2 years' time, assuming we haven't been banned or whatever, there'll be a bajillion people in the comments section going, "He denies gravity!
Yeah, well,
Cancel him!
He's a science denier!" That's what I am.
Yeah.
You know.
We don't believe in gravity. We're gonna jump off the roof later together. And
Yeah,
fly away.
I am not one of those that believes that the planets hang where they are because God is actively holding them there. I think that there's a reason why there's a testable, falsifiable law of the universe because God set that law up.
Right, and in that sense, He holds them up.
Yes, but is He actually there with His fingers like on strings going, "Make it all swirl around the sun"? No, I don't think. I mean. Maybe He is, and maybe gravity is His spirit, but there's no hint at that in the Bible, and to say that
that sounds kind of weird.
Yeah, it does, and it gets into sort of a Christian Scientist sort of thing, and I mean the doctrine, not a Christian who is a scientist.
Right, yeah.
But so...
I don't know, now I have this image in my head of just like the hand.
Yeah. With the little strings hanging down, and look, I made a solar system, and
it's the ultimate science fair project.
It really is.
Technically, it would be.
But so I started thinking about it. Does truth matter? And if so, how much?
Are you saying does it matter to the people around us, or like to our culture, or should it matter as in like does it matter as a law of the universe? Because I believe there is a law of the universe that we could call truth. And if you do not live by that law of truth, life is just going to go very poorly for you. Like, if you don't believe gravity is a thing, and you're like, "I can fly!" and then you jump off the cliff, it's going to go very badly for you.
Yes.
And if you don't believe that in objective truth, and you try to live your life, it's also going to go very badly for you, except that your fall is going to take maybe 80 or 90 or, some odd years. Or, arguably it's probably going to take a lot shorter because you're not going to be living according to reality and you're going to get yourself killed.
Both.
Okay.
God I don't want to say very clearly because let's be honest, there's lots of things in the Bible that are debated fairly regularly. Even the same verse, you can get 8 different versions of it just in the current denominations, let alone looking back historically. But God spells out what is true. Most little t truths come from that. And what it boils down to for me is it a lie or not?
Yeah.
So
how do you go about figuring out if it's a lie? Excuse you.
Yeah, my phone is angry about something. But
is it, I was about to say something that probably should be reserved for the next episode.
Well, how to go about determining it's a lie? I don't know. The first thing is, without getting into too many specifics, if you look around around our country for this entire year, we'll go back all the way to March. We'll cover both the pandemic and then the riots and everything else. There's a lot of truths and half-truths that have been said about all of those things.
Oh, yeah. And that's the best case scenario.
Yes.
Not to mention the absolute...
Well, there have been outright lies. But as Christians, we are supposed to seek the truth. Even if that truth is painful and isn't something we like.
Well, that's one of the... you said repeatedly since I've known you, if you haven't read the Bible and had something offend you in it, you're not reading it carefully enough.
Yes.
I would argue that that's the same. That goes the same for pretty much everything. If you're searching, quote unquote, searching for the truth, and you never find anything that contradicts something you've already said or that offends you, you're clearly not searching hard enough.
Well, yes.
Because reality just doesn't go that way.
But there is...
So I would call that privilege.
Well, there is something to be said for the fact that... Take Nazi Germany.
Everyone's favorite place.
Yes, because it was a profound evil that even today people willfully misunderstand at times. And
I'm not going to cut that out.
Yeah, well, it's weird how this always works, that I get no phone calls or anything all day long, and then as soon as we start recording a podcast, and all of a sudden there's texts, there's phone calls, everybody wants... But, so here's the deal. Germany was based on Nazi Germany was based on a number of very clear lies. 1, the government can control your life better than you can. 2, the Jews are all evil. 3, we Germans
are the best ever.
Are the best.
We're the GOAT.
And everything that comes out of Nazi Germany, to be honest, both good and bad, but mostly bad. And before anybody gets upset, Bayer Aspirin was a German company that served Nazi Germany. So if you take Bayer Aspirin and you're angry at me for saying something good came out of Nazi Germany, stop taking aspirin.
Say cancel Bayer.
Yes,
everyone has to die now.
But it all springs.
Maybe I shouldn't release this to the public, because then we're all going to suffer
from those lies. All the stuff that they did. Well, we, the experts here in the government, we know how to do things better than you. We know how you should live your life. Oh, okay. How do you know that? And they go from... in some cases, the people that were telling you how they knew how to live your life, were they well-meaning? Like, we can make your life better because we know better. Absolutely. Were they wrong?
Well, and
yes,
I would,
absolutely.
I would argue. Well, yeah, I would hope we agree on that. Conservatives and liberals like to debate about this, and I think one of the most common things I hear from conservatives is that they will say nobody knows how to run your life better than you do, and like I used to be like, in fact, probably a lot of people listening to this and who hear this will probably go, "Yeah, America," like, or something like that. But like, think about that. Think about the person. Like, is there anybody in your life, and this is to you and to everyone who listens, is there anybody in your life who you look at that and go, I could run their life better than they are? Like, absolutely. There are people who I interact with on a daily basis who I hear talking about what they go through and what they do, and I'm like, you realize like that's not how that works, right? Like, right. As a 10-year-old, I understood that because my parents raised me right, and you haven't figured this out at 45. And so I understand that there are, what was his name? The old comedian, really old, that everyone would hate now if he was still around because he was so incredibly offensive.
Don Rickles?
No. George Carlin.
Oh.
Who's by
I went way older than George Carlin.
Yeah, I said old. Maybe I should have, understood who I was talking to. But no.
I just gave him the look.
That's what I was going for. Yeah. But no, George Carlin once said, imagine how stupid you think everybody is. Now realize that half the people you're thinking about are stupider than that.
Oh.
And so I get the idea, especially now when we're seeing all of this go down around us this year. How stupid are some people, not just in this country, but in other countries. And I get that there are some people who might look at that and go, I can run their life better than them, or I can make this decision better than they can, and be completely validated in what they're saying. I just don't know that gives them the right to do it.
I would argue it doesn't, because God says work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Right.
It doesn't say help your brother or make your brother work out his salvation with fear and trembling.
Right. Now, it doesn't say to help each other along, but it's like...
Yes, but that doesn't mean you get to walk up to them and like hit them with a stick and like, hey, stop that.
Pray for this, now! But no, I feel like if I'm like... Again, I have this house, that we're sitting in right now.
Right.
'Cause apparently we will go back and forth, I suppose.
But we are at the kitchen table.
Yes,
we are. Kitchen table talks.
That's right. We have to be. We're not in the dining room table.
Nope.
It's not dining room table talks. It's kitchen table talks. We mean what we say because we're American Christian men.
Because we tell the truth.
So yeah, I have this house that we have mentioned just now. If I want to keep this house, there's certain things I have to do. I have to go make money. If I get fired from a job, I have to get another job, or I have to make my own job, and I have to. So I have to live my life in a certain way in accordance with my goals.
Right.
And if I wasn't doing that, you would look at me and go, "Are you an idiot? You said you want to keep your house, but you're just playing Xbox all day. Why? Why are you doing this?"
Right.
Okay, maybe Xbox is not. Because let's be honest, there was a point last year where I checked my Steam account and I'm like, I have logged 3,000 hours in The Sims 3. What is wrong with me? I know.
That's more hours than a work year.
I know, right?
Okay.
It was bad. It was
yes,
not okay.
Yes, it was.
And but to be fair, I was also working, so I was working and playing The Sims. And that was pretty much it. Like, sleep even was optional at that point. But
that explains so much.
But I slept in The Sims, so it actually made it okay. But no, like, if I want to do those sorts of things, like, as hilarious as it was, take the example just now, like, 3,000 hours in The Sims. Reasonable people would look at me and go, what are you doing with your life? Very, very, very reasonably. And I would look at them and go, not much.
Yeah,
and they would say, "Why?"
I'm playing Sims. That's what I'm doing with my life.
Obviously, can you see? Like, do I need to take a picture of my Steam account and post it on Twitter for you to understand what's happening? This black hole I've got myself sucked into while I'm creating virtual black holes. So yeah, like, but when I tell people that, that's the reaction they have. Good God, because reasonable people know you can't run your life that way. So if I want to maintain my standard of living, I can't be doing that. And anyone else looking outside in can rightly tell me you shouldn't run your life that way.
All right, let's look at that because I would argue that you've touched on both facts, truth, and how to apply the truth all in one anecdote.
Well, that's because I'm a genius.
Sure. The fact is, you played 3,000 hours of Sims in one calendar
You
year.
say that like it's somehow like you're. Are you judging me? Are you discriminating against me because of that?
There's a reason why I haven't bought an updated video game console, especially one that can play Red Dead Redemption 2, because you'd never see me again.
So you're judging me, but you're also judging yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
As long as we're equal, that's what's important. Equality is important.
I'm aware of the beam in my own eye, and so...
But you're also aware that you haven't put it there in some time.
Yes.
Okay.
The truth is that if you want to have a life, a successful life, that is not something you can do.
Yeah, at least not long term.
No. For a year, maybe. But if year after year after year, you're putting 3,000 or more hours on video games in a year, and then you're like, why don't I have friends? Why don't I have a girlfriend or a boyfriend? Or why aren't I rich? Well,
actually,
you've put more than a work year. For those of you that don't understand, a full work year, 50 weeks at 40 hours a week is 2,000 hours. So 3,000 hours is
a year and a half of work.
It is a year's worth of work with 1,000 hours of overtime in it. And he wasn't getting paid for that. In fact, he was probably paying for it.
Only once. I only paid
the
for
application of truth then becomes, okay, in order to get X, what do I have to do?
Right. What has to happen in my life or in my environment for this to happen? And the answer is, if you want to be... So, like, take all that time and apply it to a job. Apply it to something that makes money back for you. Apply it to time spent with people.
Yeah.
Apply it to... Which is one of the reasons why I've kept this promise pretty much, consistently from all of my life. Like, I always promise myself, when I get a girlfriend, I'm done with the gaming. Like, I'm not going to be a gamer. Like, even, I have a lot of students who ask me, Mr. Baumgartner, we loved watching you play this game and post this video on YouTube or on your Google Classroom page. Can you do that more? And, like, at the time, I was like, sure, whenever I get time, because at that point I was working and, I had tons of time on my hands after that.
Oh, yes.
But then they were like, can you do more of this? And I was like, yes, but now that I've got a girlfriend, people would ask me that. I was like, no, I got rid of those things. Because I know time spent to that doesn't produce anything. Time spent with my girlfriend produces something. It produces a closer connection between the two of us. It helps us get to know each other better. Helps us get to marriage a lot faster, I hope.
So, lately, I have seen the lack of the ability to apply truth for quite a while.
How would you say it's more than a decade, I assume?
Oh, yes.
Like more than 2?
Yeah, I would argue that mankind is very skilled at finding ways not to apply.
So you've been seeing this for thousands of years.
Yes, because I'm that old.
Right.
When I went to get my parking license or driving license, we had to parallel park dinosaurs. My Bible school professors, 12 apostles.
So unrealistic. They didn't have parking licenses back then.
Whoa, sure they did.
Actually, you know what? I defer to your expertise. You would know.
Yeah, I was there. We had little plates that hung off their tails and everything. It was had to use hand signals though. We didn't have
turn signals.
We didn't have electricity yet.
Oh,
I mean, some of us didn't even have fire.
Wow.
So we had to.
Were you on the cutting edge?
Oh yes, I like my tech.
Even if it's just 2 rocks put together.
Yep. Sharp, pointy stick. That's high tech.
It was. It was at one time. I'm glad you can. This is why you're the history teacher.
It is, because, I was there.
It's also probably why you see a statue get torn down and you go, you were so stupid.
The statues coming down hurt me because of history, and then also, in some cases, because of the rampant stupidity behind it.
Which I'm sure we can probably get into more in the next episode.
I would say yes. Right now...
So tune in if you're curious about how we're going to weigh in on all of that, because we will be. And like I told you, I don't think I can keep my mouth shut much longer.
Well, and that's why I wanted to talk about truth in this one, is if 2 + 2 is 4, even if that makes you feel bad, 2 + 2 is still 4. So as I try to teach the kids when they complain about rules at school, stupid rules get made because people did stupid things. Mm-hmm. That, I would argue, is one of the basic laws of the universe.
Yeah, probably. That wouldn't surprise me.
And your feelings on whether it's a stupid rule or not don't really matter.
Yeah.
Just try not to make do anything new stupid,
right,
to get a new stupid rule made.
Yeah, because if you do something stupid to overturn the stupid rule, it doesn't overturn the stupid rule, it adds another stupid rule.
Yes. Rules and laws have a tendency that once they are made, they stay put.
So if I break a vase because I was dumb, and then the people in charge say, okay, from now on, we're going to put this glass wall around all vases everywhere, so that no one can ever break them again. You can't put anything in them and you can't touch them, but we're going to put them there anyway. I cannot fix that by going around and breaking all the glass walls, because then they're going to put up cement walls and you can't even see the vases anymore.
Yep, or we're just going to put these in a safe because we can't be trusted.
And then a couple generations later, people are like, why are all these vases in a safe? And like, when you don't question it, it's tradition.
Or, what are vases?
Yeah, that took a dark turn real quick. Yeah, in the analogy. Wow. Okay.
I actually looked up a bunch of verses on lying and truth in preparation for this.
You saying you did a Bible study?
I did, actually. I could do one of my hour-long sermons on this. I probably would put a little more thought into...
If you do, I'll record it and we'll put it up.
Into the
that'd be legit.
It would be tough to preach to like an empty room, though.
You just preach to me.
That's why I feel I had sympathy for a lot of the pastors during the lockdown. How tough it was to preach to a camera.
First time I went back to my girlfriend's church with her, and the pastor stood up and started preaching. Like, we were laughing at his jokes, and he was like, "Whoa, You're
There's
here?
people
Oh my gosh.
here.
My jokes are actually funny. I didn't know because I couldn't hear whether you laughed or not.
But here, I'm going to go through some of these verses. Like, just the ones on lying. This isn't even an in-depth study. This is just, here's verses that talk about lying or telling the truth.
How many do you have?
Oh, I don't know here. We'll see. Proverbs 10:18. Whoever conceals hatred with lying lips and spreads slander is a fool. Proverbs 12:19 and 20. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment. Deceit is in the hearts of those who plot evil, but those who promote peace have joy. 1 Timothy 4:1. The Spirit says clearly that in the latter time some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons.
Well,
Revelation 21:8. But the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those who practice magic arts, the idolaters, and all liars, they will be consigned to the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. Proverbs 14:5. An honest witness does not deceive, but a false witness pours out lies. 2 Timothy 4:3 and 4. For the time will come when people will not put up a sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn their ears away from the truth and turn aside to myths or lies. Jeremiah 9:6. You live in the midst of deception. In their deceit, they refuse to acknowledge me, declares the Lord. Psalm 10:7. His mouth is full of lies and threats. Trouble and evil are under his tongue. Psalm 101:7. No one who practices deceit will dwell in my house. No one who speaks falsely will stand in my presence. Psalm 122. Save me, Lord, from lying lips and from deceitful tongues. Proverbs 12:17. An honest witness tells the truth, but a false witness tells lies. And the page won't turn.
oh no. It's a lie.
2 Timothy 3:13 and 14. While evildoers and impostors go from bad to worse, deceiving and being deceived. But as for you, continue in what you have learned and become convinced of. Proverbs 6:16 through 19. This is a Bible verse that everybody should memorize and know. There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him. Haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up conflict in the community. Proverbs 12:19. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment. I think I already did that one. Proverbs 12:20. Deceit is in the hearts of those who plot evil, but those who promote peace have joy.
Yeah, you read that one too.
Okay.
You might have copied and pasted it.
Well, it's certainly a different version.
Okay.
And then the verse is about the truth, because as Christians, above all else, we are called to love others and love God. But in order to love God, we have to know truth and we have to seek truth. Jesus called himself the way, the truth, and the life. Well, if you look up verses about truth in the Bible, the vast majority of the verses you find will be talking about Jesus and how he was the truth. So if you're a Christian and you say, well, the truth doesn't really matter, or what is truth, or everybody has their own truth. No, that's a lie.
Yeah. Well, and
Jesus is the truth.
Even the things, as you were reading those, I kind of like, what are characteristics of liars, and what if you look out into the world, what can you see that tells you what's going on and why it's important? And even from just the few verses you read, here are the things that I gleaned from that, just listening to it. Liars plot evil.
Yes.
And that seems really elementary, but if you break it down and think about that, what you're really saying is, if you see someone who is telling lies, you can automatically assume they are plotting something evil. The degree to which that may be evil and the degree of the plot, may be in question or in flux, but lying equals evil plots.
Right.
Automatically.
And I would argue either beforehand or after.
Yes.
Like
as a part of the lie or as a consequence
to cover up the
right.
evil plot.
Exactly. And evil people who plot evil are going to lie to you. So if there's someone who is like you think they're telling you the truth, but then you see, oh, they did something over here that was wrong. They did something bad over here. They did something evil over here. You need to be looking for a lie in there somewhere. I have quite a few examples. I mean, I'll get into this. Shut up! I'll get into this a little bit later. But ever since I started working at my current job in Kroger, I have had a lot of time to, because I shop all day is what I do for other people. There's a system and I pay attention to it and I follow it, but I'm also, to keep my mind occupied, I'm listening to news and podcasts. And I'm doing this for about 8 hours every single day. 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, shopping and learning. So I have been, I feel like a water balloon that's full almost to bursting, which is why it's hard for me to just not say what I want to say right now. But I have watched and watched and watched since I started this job. In just like the past month and a half, I have been watching and paying attention. And the amount of lying and evil plotting that goes together, if you are really paying attention and you don't even have to like do any sort of serious research, you just have to pay attention and listen and watch what these people are doing and listen to what they're saying. And the amount of evil plots and lies you will see going together is nothing short of utterly astonishing. Like the amount of it is so pervasive in the culture that as I begin to see the scope and the depth of it, it actually almost led me into somewhat of a state of depression. Because I can, and even worse, when I saw how badly it has come to and infected the church and how much it has been doing that in the past decade, and I haven't said anything because I've been told, oh, we don't talk about that sort of thing around here. That's politics. It drives me insane because it's been so obvious to me for so many years.
And there certainly is a difference between truth and politics.
Oh yeah,
they can overlap and entwine and all that. But anybody that tells you politics is truth, whatever their politics is, maybe partially.
Well,
but
even worse, my bigger issue is every time I've ever heard someone say to me, "Oh, I don't discuss politics" or that sort of thing, and they've been someone who's in the church, invariably their politics have been screwed up and it's led them to abandon the truth. Every single time. I know there are probably people who don't want to talk about politics in the church, and their grasp on truth is relatively fine, but I have never encountered personally somebody, and I've been around in the past decade or so. I've been around in the religious circles, talked to a lot of people. I've never met a single individual who was in the church who said, we don't discuss politics at church, who didn't have a screwed up view of reality and the truth, at least eventually. I haven't seen it. It doesn't.
Now it's you.
It's me. Where's my phone? Oh, it's over there.
But, and to your point of if they're lying, they're plotting evil. The question then becomes, if that lie is the basis or the foundation for everything they're doing, can you support what they're doing, even if it's good?
I would say, I'm not going to get into any specifics, but I have known and seen movements that had, like in politics and in religion, I have known and seen very few movements that have been based on a lie. That like where like, oh, X has happened or X has been revealed. Now we must do this. And they've started a movement, and like the lie has been revealed and the movement has continued, but it's continued by new leadership. Mm-hmm. And the old leadership that believed the lie is gone. And so the movement goes on to do something good with some reformatting. I've seen that once or twice.
All right.
But that's extremely rare. And the vast majority of the time I've seen anything that's been started based on a lie, if it doesn't end as soon as the lie is revealed to the majority of the people that are participating, it inevitably goes on to do evil things or support evil things. Yeah. Because you can't start with something evil, because I know we say liars plot evil, and like I don't want to split hairs or obfuscate. Lying itself is a form of evil. So why would you be surprised when someone who's doing this kind of evil goes over into this kind of evil? Like it's the same. It's all the same type of bad.
Well,
and so I can't see how I would stand with something that's evil and then evil not come about as a result. It's literally a tree and its fruit. That's that simple.
And that would be a verse that I would add in, is the whole idea that if the roots are rotten,
like the good fruit, the good tree bears good fruit, it's good heart,
and it cannot bear bad fruit.
Right.
So if you see a bunch of like starving kids, and your solution to it is to go murder somebody and steal all the food out of the refrigerator,
and then give it to all the kids,
is giving it to the kids a good thing? Yes.
Feeding kids is good. Yes.
Is the murder and stealing a good thing? No. And it doesn't matter how you cloak that, what fancy words you say. The truth is, murder is wrong. Doesn't matter why.
Right.
The truth is,
and the truth is you
wrong.
are now a murderer.
Yes.
Because how many times do you have to do something before you can be identified with that action? One time. If you lie one time, you are a liar. If you murder one time, you are a murderer. If you make a cheeseburger one time, you are a cheeseburger maker, and you're going to heaven assuming it's a good cheeseburger.
Now, to be fair, with stealing, the Bible actually does kind of make an exception for if you're stealing to feed your family.
Yes. It doesn't say that stealing is okay.
It does not.
But
it says the punishment should be less harsh.
Yes.
Because...
right.
And then also tells you helping feed the children.
Also true.
So,
again, as we have laid out, feeding children is good.
Yes. So
unless they're fat. If they're fat children, they don't need any more food.
If the charity, the love, the doing good is based on a lie, everything that comes after the lie is fruit of the lie, and by nature has to be bad fruit.
By the way, total rabbit trail. That is one of the reasons why I have always been hesitant about holding up Robin Hood as a hero. Because I'm not convinced that he was one. Because, again, he was a hero in a certain sense, and he was standing up to corruption. But robbing the rich and giving to the poor isn't heroism, it's communism.
Well, yes. And the most recent Robin Hood movie and one of the ones on TV, that's pretty much all it is.
He's socialist.
Yes. Power to the people! No, that's not what... Okay. I wrote down... because we've been going for, 45 minutes now?
About almost 40 minutes.
But, yeah, we need to not make this one an hour and a half.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Keep going.
Another thing that I noticed from those verses, and this should, if you've been paying attention to the times, this should jump off the page at you. Liars are unhappy and miserable.
Yeah.
They in this life will have hardship and be generally angry people. Because if you go, and this is, you can see this in certain groups and movements and associations that completely buy into lies and problems, like, society is X. If that X is a lie and you buy into that 100%, you are going to be an unhappy person. You simply will be. That's true of any time you base something in your life off of a lie, in whatever area you base it on, you're going to be an unhappy person in that area. If you believe I have the right to a 4-bedroom house, 3.5 bathrooms, and you don't ever have that, you're always going to be unhappy when the idea of housing comes up. Every single time.
And look at 1984 and Big Brother and all that. Constantly told lies. Mm-hmm. The government told the people lies. Were the people happy?
No. Because they're lied to.
Well, and also...
North Korea's not a happy place.
There are times when we willingly buy into lies, but there are also times when we know we're being lied to, and it's hard to be happy when you keep being told, like, the sky's purple, and you're like, but it's
I don't
blue.
see purple.
Well, no, it's actually purple. It's almost a mauve. Okay, it looks blue.
No, stop it!
Yeah.
I'll beat you if you say anything else. I'll just do this one last one because the rest are self-explanatory. Liars against God, liars are among the condemned, liars attract evil. But like liars, people who lie, tend to also believe lies. If you are a liar, if you are telling lies, you will also believe the lies that you are told. Because we talk about people being stupid, but there's a very real sense in which being a liar, divorcing yourself from the truth, the further away you get from reality and what it is, you will believe crazier and crazier garbage. You will believe false things that are told to you because you have rejected what is real. Yeah, and so what is fictitious and conspiratorial comes at you, and you're like, oh, wow, holy crap, this I couldn't believe. Yes. Then you're sucked into it.
There's actually in 2 Thessalonians
you even seek it out, other lies,
because they refuse. They, who are the people that are the wicked that are perishing and are deceived, refused to love the truth and so be saved. Therefore, God sends them a strong delusion, so that they may believe what is false, in order that all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. That means if you're following a lie because it makes you feel better,
God will let you have it.
Yes.
And He'll even send it to you and send it your way for you to totally give yourself over to it. And if you're watching what's going on in the culture, and if you're paying any lick of attention to what's going on right now, and you don't think that the term strong delusion applies to our current situation, then guess what? The strong delusion is where you live. That's where you are. So, I mean, if that's you, I don't know what to tell you. There's the truth. Read the Bible. I mean, yeah. That's really all I can say at this point. But yeah, like, and I feel like, because you said at the beginning about cults,
right? Like
how you wanted to, like, what are the features of a cult? And I think it starts here. It starts with lying to yourself or to others, or both.
Some of you may actually remember, but most of you it's going to be before your time. Way back in the 90s, I think it was, early 90s, mid-90s.
That's so far.
The Hale-Bopp comet was coming through. And there was a cult who, I don't know how it started, with a little lie probably, because nobody ever believes the big lie right off the bat. There's got to be a bunch of little lies, or you just have to keep repeating the big lie. But they believed that there was a spaceship in the trail behind the comet, and that in order to get to heaven or paradise, they would have to get on the spaceship. And the way they had to do that was to die at a certain time.
You'd say kill themselves.
So their spirits could go up and hop on board the spaceship and go gallivanting across the galaxy to paradise, whatever. So they did. They all drank their poison, stabbed themselves. I can't remember how they did it. But there were, I mean, it was national news. There were, it wasn't just like 5 or 10 people. It was 30, 50, or 100 people killed themselves so they could get to heaven in a spaceship hiding in the tail of a comet as it came by.
Newsflash. Natural selection strikes again.
Well, most people are like, I could never believe that. Okay, but can you believe, I don't even know what a good lie to start with on that.
I do, but that's going to be next episode.
Well, you'd start with the truth, maybe. That you're more than a body, that you have a spirit. All right, that's a truth. But heaven isn't heaven, it's a planet. There's an awful lot of people that would be open to that idea.
Yeah, because
it's just
they think that, aliens are part of the reason we have religion at some point. Anyway, there's plenty of people that at least are open to that idea.
Well, and you can make the case from the Bible, like, well, it says he went up to heaven. Where's up? Up in space.
He went to another place.
So he went up into a spaceship and he went to
I actually heard someone saying that that's one of the reasons we haven't gotten to Mars yet is because God won't let us because that's where he is.
Yeah.
Someone was floating that theory around.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh.
See, that would be believing the lie.
If that's true, every single one of us needs to sell everything and donate to Elon Musk.
And certainly with like the spaceship thing, part of the allure of that lie, part of the reason it feels good, is because, and this is a lot of cults, virtually all of them, and the Gnostics are this, it's a secret knowledge that only you have. Only you and the few know that heaven is really a planet out around Alpha Centauri or somewhere.
You're special. So you know this because you're chosen. Or whatever. What?
Chipmunk.
Chipmunk. Yeah, there are chipmunks all over my yard.
So they start that way, and it goes from there. Keep going. You had more.
Well, yeah. Lies are against God and the truth. Again, rather self-explanatory, but like, because if you're listening, and we don't have to necessarily say it, but if you're listening, I'm going to ask this question, and I want you to answer it in your head, because you will answer it in your head one way or another. Have you ever told a lie? If you're answering honestly, you're going to say yes. And so think about the fact that God is truth. And if you have told a lie, you have committed an act that is in a very real way supremely anti-God.
Oh, yeah.
Which think about what that means. Think about how serious that actually is.
Cosmic treason.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the one verse that I skipped over while I was reading all these because I wanted to make a point with it, and you've got a great opportunity here. The whole idea of not lying or not bearing false testimony made God's top 10 list of things not to do or to do. Like when in the 10 Commandments, it's very clear. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor.
Yeah. You shall not lie is one, and you shall not bear false witness is another one. So it made the top 10 list twice. Isn't that, or is that?
No.
Later,
I think it does expand that false witness includes lying.
I thought so.
But in the actual 10 Commandments, it says false witness.
Okay.
So
I must be thinking of two different versions and splitting.
And this is to illustrate the times that lying might appear to be in the service of good.
Mm.
Gentlemen, at some point in your life, you are very likely to have a woman look at you, be wearing a dress or some outfit she dearly loves, and will ask you, "Do I look good in this?" Your instinct, if she does not, is going to be to lie to her and say, "Yes, darling, you look great.
You look ravishing."
Because that will make her feel better. It will make you feel better. Mm. But it's a lot. And don't get me wrong, I get it. And I personally wouldn't be throwing any stones at somebody that did that. Ladies, at some point, you're going to ask your husband that, or he's going to ask you, "Hey, do I look good in this suit?" And you're going to be like, "Yes, you look ravishing." And you're going to be like, "Did someone throw up on that tie?" Or... And it's a little lie, but that's how these things start, with the little lie.
Keep in mind, I agree with everything you just said, and I am supremely annoyed by the people who use that example and go, "I wouldn't want my partner to lie to me because I'm so committed to the truth. I want to be told when I'm ugly." Like,
yeah, but
that's a very annoying.
Yeah, because they'd stomp off and get.
Because you realize that's not you being committed to the truth. That's you being like super self-righteous and crap. But I feel like if it's actually true, if you are so committed to people telling you the truth that you truly are okay with that, then you need to say that in your relationship. Like you need to actually. This is now relationship hour with.
Yeah, like
kitchen table
one of my
talks.
basic rules for anybody, not just relationships, but just anybody that I'm in a relationship with, as in like friends, whatever. Don't ask me a question if you don't want to know the answer.
Yeah, that's why you do that thing where and I need to get better at this, because if you ask me a question, I'm just answer, and and if you don't like it and you cry, be like, "Don't ask me questions then." But you do it a little bit better with a little more tact. You go, "Do you want me to answer that question?" Because then if they say yes, they have essentially asked you the question twice and confirmed that your answer is what they want.
Right. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't get mad at me anyway. But...
No, but it gives you a leg to stand on that I don't typically get, because I don't even bother to ask what they're thinking, because I don't care how they feel.
You got anything else?
Liars are among the condemned, obviously. I'll skip to the last one, and we'll wrap this list up with that. Liars attract evil to themselves. I read a shortened version of a book by Friedrich Hayek. What was it? The Road to Serfdom?
Yeah.
Now, there's another guy, I think his name is Nigel something. Nigel Farage. I don't know if it was Nigel Farage or if it was the forward by Nigel Farage, but it was another book called The New Road to Serfdom. I feel like the guy's name was David. Look it up somewhere. Someone who's listening now, look it up and post it in the comments, or you can look it up, I guess. The New Road to Serfdom, based on the original Road to Serfdom by Friedrich Hayek. And in The Road to Serfdom, he was essentially exploring the idea of the difference between representative government and monarchies / dictatorships, or oligarchies. And the idea being what makes these two forms of government different and what makes one better than the other. And he came to the conclusion and made the observation that whenever you have a dictatorial government or like someplace where there's a very small group of people that control everything, not only is it usually born out of something that is not really supremely good, because give me one example where in history where a government or like a small group of people have consolidated all power within themselves that has actually been born out of something fruitful, other than our revolution. And even then, that's not quite the same. But I can't think of one. And he asked the question, why do the worst people get on top of these systems? What is it that seems to ensure, not only encourage, but ensure, guarantee that the worst people to be in charge of this system always end up on top? And he came to the conclusion, it's the nature of the system itself. Because what has to be done to create this system, the way these people have to consolidate the power to themselves, in and of itself is something that's morally wrong to do. And the more you do that, the more people who have no personal limits, no moral guidance, no conscience, because they don't have boundaries. So if you're willing to do something that's wrong to get something, then if you're willing to do everything that's wrong, you'll always get to the top of that mountain of the piles of bodies, the ultimate ski, the top of the pyramid of horribleness. It's always that way. So liars are part of this. If you are willing to lie, you will attract evil things to yourself. And I'm not talking about just in some spiritual sense. I firmly believe that at a certain point in that pyramid, if you get to these high-end governments, like there are evil forces and spirits at work.
Oh yeah, spiritual wickedness in high places.
The way I believe there is one at work in our country right now. At least one, maybe more. But I'm also just talking about general evil. Like, I'm a liar, and I'm telling lies. You're a liar. You, like, as we said, you tend to believe lies. So you're going to be attracted to me. You're going to be attracted to me from over here. You're not a liar, but you're a thief. And I'm going to lie to cover up for you. So I'm going to attract you to me. So all this evil comes to you as a liar. And so the more you do it and the deeper you get into it, the more evil you will attract to yourself, and the more you will be attracted to other evil things. And so it's like a giant snowball effect. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger until something or someone puts a stop to it.
Well, and this is something that has really bothered me the last few months. If you say you're the good guys, well, if what you are doing is based on a lie, at some point, as the following, you give in and you're following the father of lies. Mm. And what is Satan's number one goal?
To deceive you.
Well, more than that. I will become like the Most High. I will sit on. They want to overthrow Jesus and God. So if you're in an organization or helping a group or supporting people that say they're the good guys, and they start burning down churches, vandalizing churches,
and calling for statues of Jesus to be torn down?
Yes. If they're turning on God and Jesus, no matter how reasonable you may think their argument for doing so is,
or how noble their goals might be,
you need to stop, because the good guys aren't going to attack Jesus. Jesus said very clearly, "My sheep know my voice, and they will listen to none other." He did not say, "My sheep will try to re-crucify me or burn down my churches, hurt my followers."
Or trying to subvert my message.
Yes, that you need to beware of that and use wisdom. If you're a Christian supporting an organization that actively is calling for the overthrow of Christianity and the things Christianity professes and believes, you need to take a step back, even if it makes you sad. I will give one example without giving any particular allegiances. As Christians, we believe mothers and fathers and complete families are important. Jesus even talked about one man, one woman, we're getting married, and they'll go off and they will become one and raise their kids. There's verses all over the place about how to raise kids and how important it is for men and women to be together as a family with children. If you are supporting an organization or a group of people whose stated goal is to destroy the so-called nuclear family, i.e. the family that the Bible, God, Jesus, everybody involved says is a good thing, you need to stop. You can tell yourself, oh, well, that's just a little thing, and everybody's entitled to be wrong.
Yes, you're right. The underpinning of Western civilization being destroyed is just a little thing.
Right. But there's all sorts of excuses you can come up with.
I know.
Why, oh, well, they don't really mean it, or, oh, well, they suffer from it.
Oh, but that's just one person
who
wrote this paper.
Once they say that, and that's, if you're done, that's where I'd like to end, is on the difference between a liar and someone who's just wrong, mistaken, or a seeker. Because I actually heard a pastor talking about this not too long ago, and it stood out to me because I was already thinking about truth and does it matter. And it was like, how do you tell the difference between a liar and someone who's just not there yet? And I can't remember the pastor, whoever it was, I heard saying, but it's essentially honesty. Like, if you're confronted with the facts, like if you say, the sun comes up in the west, and somebody like shows you a compass and a map and says, look, it comes up over there, that's the east. And you're shown enough, if you're honest and you're sincere, you may still cling to it comes up in the west, but you're going to reevaluate. You're going to stop and you're going to be
at some point, your mind's going to be changed.
Yes. You are open to the idea of change.
Yeah.
If you're just like, no, that's the west. Well, no, it's not. Look,
compass.
New York is to the east of here, and it's rising that way. No, you're lying to me.
You're racist.
That's the west, and that's the big thing. If someone is corrected and they're like, "Oh, well, I see your point, and let me think about that," or that's one thing. If they get angry at you, that's when the whole verse about not casting your pearls before swine. Because they will stomp them underfoot and turn and attack you comes to mind. If you state the truth to someone and they get angry at you, just step back. Don't keep trying to engage with them. Don't try to rationalize with them. Step away. If they're honest and sincere and God's working on them, they will come back to you and say, hey, tell me more about that. If they're not, if they just want to get angry and rage and maybe even get violent, leave. Just leave them alone. Don't have anything to do with them. Anything they're doing, just step away.
And buy a gun.
Well, I think everybody should do that and get trained anyway. But
well, yes. But do it quickly because we're running out. Shockingly, somehow.
Yes.
In America, we're running out of guns somehow. Not sure how. But yeah. But no, yeah, that's a really good point. And what you're talking about is intellectual honesty and the willingness to sit down and have the conversation. I'm going to say something that like a lot of Christians that I know would find controversial. For a lot, like when the KKK came through Dayton, all 9 of them.
Yes.
Met by 200 counter protesters.
They were LARPing. You look up what LARP is because that's what they were doing.
But when they came through Dayton, if there hadn't been such an uproar or outrage, you want to know what I would have done? The first thing that I thought about doing was going to the event and talking to one of them. You know why? Because, and I told this to my students, how many of you know what the KKK is? Like, oh my gosh, you're racist, man! But okay, now, how many of you have ever heard one of them talk? In any format, you watched TV or seen an interview or in the news or whatever, and nobody. Okay, how many of you have ever seen one of them in person? Nobody. So the KKK, everybody knows what it is, but not a single person that I have ever met has ever talked to or met someone who's in the KKK. And I'm not saying I would have done it because I would be famous. No.
Yeah,
but how do I actually know that these people believe what everyone says they believe? it's all literally every single thing I've ever heard about the KKK has been hearsay or written down somewhere.
Fair enough.
That doesn't mean I discount all of it, but it means that like if you go to the source, you want primary sources. What's more primary about the KKK than one of their members? And I would want to go talk to them. So like, hey, do you consider yourself a racist? And if they say, yes, I consider myself a racist. Okay, I have it from the horse's mouth. The KKK is racist. If they say no, I say, okay, how do you explain all of this history?
Explain this then.
And then if they go, oh, that never happened, they're like, okay, they're maybe not racist, but they're liars. Maybe they're both. But you talk to them. You have to be able to do that. And I would do the same thing with one of them that I would do with any other group or like I know.
See, I still think it comes back to pearls before swine.
No, it's not because I want to convert them or convince them. It's because I want to learn for my
own truth of what they believe.
Exactly.
Right.
Getting back to what is true.
You want to know what they actually believe.
Right. So the next time someone comes to me and tells me, "Oh, the NRA is and the KKK are the same thing," well, okay. I know tons of people in the NRA, and for a time I was one of the people in the NRA. I'm not a racist. None of those people were racist. I have never met someone from the KKK. So don't tell me the NRA and the KKK are the same thing, because you just heard that either from your parent or from some idiot talking ahead on the news who is just as stupid as you are.
Especially when part of the reason the NRA was founded was to help black people in the South after the Civil War have guns so they could shoot at the KKK when the KKK came to burn a cross in their yard or worse.
Right. So, again, truth, but like that's what I mean. Go talk to these people. Sit down and have the conversation. You don't just because you sit down and have a conversation doesn't mean you have to believe whatever they tell you.
Right, and even not so much of a conversation. Like if someone says X is true, whatever X is, and we're doing this because there's 1,000 million starving babies in America. Okay. Do some research. Find out that, there aren't that many babies in America, period. And then, or you find out, oh no, the hunger rate's much, much lower. Does that mean that it's okay for those kids to be hungry? No. But does it mean that person was lying to you? Yes. And in the end, even people with good intentions can tell you falsehoods, either intentionally or because they haven't researched it.
Well, I would say the vast majority of people who are like spouting off these things that I personally know are lies aren't doing it because they're trying to mislead me. They just don't know any better. They're uninformed, and they're listening to people who I would argue are intentionally lying to them.
By the way, and the author of that book was Daniel Hannan.
That's right. Daniel Hannan used to be a member of British Parliament.
All right. Are we done?
Almost. I want to share something that's hilarious from Twitter. Yes, I am on Twitter. Not one of my better decisions, but and this might be a bit of a preview for the next episode, but like when I say pay attention, I mean like listen to things like this and think them through, like this guy did. Brandon Straka on Twitter quoted Joe Biden recently. Joe Biden said 120 million people have died from COVID in the United States.
And there's actually video out there of him saying that.
Yeah, I have it right here. It's in my hands. And in 2007, he also said 150 million people are dead from gun violence. And then he says, so according to Joe Biden, 82.3% of Americans are now dead, which is bad news for Republicans because 100% of the dead people who vote Democrat. I laughed quite a bit at that when I read that initially. And he replied because, Donald Trump responded to that video saying, if I ever said something so mortifyingly stupid, the fake news media would come down on me with a vengeance. This is beyond a normal mistake. Why isn't the media covering this? Which is a fair question. Now, if you want to talk about some of the stupid stuff Donald Trump has said, again, I have Twitter, just as long of a list.
Yep.
So that's not me trying to be partisan. That's just me pointing out something I saw today in terms of like when you hear someone like quote numbers that sound all fancy and sound huge and they're big numbers, and so you go, oh my gosh, just think about that. Okay, 320 million people in this country, a third of them did not die from COVID.
Here's an idea.
That's all it takes to figure out that was bunk. It's not really that hard. Just think about it. How to tell lies from truth.
Here's the idea. Here's an idea. Instead of doing what we're going to do for the next one, how about next time we talk into how to tell lies from truth? And so that people listening can actually like, oh,
I see how they got that.
Yeah. And then see, like, so that they can hone their detector. So they can, oh, wait, that doesn't sound right.
That's a good idea. I think we'll do that. I'm not going to like, we'll get into some specifics.
Yeah, we will. We will. But there's also...
Because if we don't, then I'm just going to do my own rant on YouTube, and I need you here as a sounding board and a buffer.
Okay.
So I don't, I don't care about getting myself in trouble, but if I can avoid it by at least having you present.
Well, like I said,
not that.
I lost at least 20 followers off Instagram just for saying that toppling a statue of Ulysses S. Grant was stupid. So
I have a I think I'm 90% sure that she is gay because she has rainbow heart buttons and whatnot, and she talks about her partner constantly, but doesn't reveal the gender. So I'm pretty sure she's just like I'm not trying to.
Are you assuming either of their genders?
Yeah.
How dare you? All right, let's just.
She was upset because she studied she has a degree in like history like preservation or whatever, architectural preservation, and she was very upset. She's a liberal and she doesn't want any of these statues torn down. She thinks all of them should be preserved in some way, even if they're not in public. Like you said, or no, I don't think it was you. One of the commentators I was listening to said, if you don't like the statue in public, you don't like what it represents, like it's a Confederate thing, fine, take it down, put it in a museum. Because we have to remember our history.
Right.
I still don't think you should take them down. But if you're going to take them down, preserve them somewhere.
Well,
because you
my thing is this. Even if we... How many statues of like Robert E. Lee do we really need? But the flip side is the mob doesn't get to decide what is right, what is true, what is good.
That's called the bandwagon fallacy.
Yes.
It's one of the oldest, most classic fallacies that exist. Just like the either or that they keep giving out.
Right. So we will talk about the how to discern lies from truth.
I will prepare my butt off for that one.
Yes.
I had so much to say. So much to say. I'm going to be digging through Twitter for a long time. And I don't want to... How long ago was our first episode?
I don't know. It's not going to be as long between the two episodes for the next episode.
I got too much to say.
But I will say... Let's just close. I want to say a quote from George Orwell, and then we can just...
Maybe we should put our phones on silent for these.
It is on silent, but a quote from George Orwell.
20 million dead from COVID.
I highly recommend. There's a poem out there that we may read at some point because the problem with ignoring truth is it's going to come get you at some point.
Every time. If it takes 2 generations.
I'll bring up the Gods of the Copybook headings. It's a poem later. But let's just end with a quote from George Orwell. In a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. So when everyone else around you is lying, you should at least strive to tell the truth, even if it's hard. And have no illusions. In this day and age, telling the truth can carry a cost. Not just, so-and-so defriended me on Facebook, but a bigger one. But we'll cover that in later episodes. We good?
I agree. Ending with, as our tradition is, last thing we say is going to be scripture. I think it's 1 Timothy says, be ready, preach the word in season and off season. So for pastors, that's a serious charge. And I am, I think that quote needs to be sent around to a lot of pastors right now. Is there people are going to, like you said, accumulate for themselves teachers that tickle their fancy.
Yep, that just tell them what they want to hear.
And we are experiencing that. We're watching it happen right now. And the more I learn about it, the sadder it gets. And I hope to kind of shed some light on that in our next episode, if not more episodes after.
Yeah, this may be a 2 or 3 episode thing on truth.
Yeah.
Because it's important. Very important.
Yeah, extremely. So yeah, I guess that's it. And I guess we'll sign off now. If you listened, we only got an hour and 15 minutes in this time. We're getting better.
Oh, yeah.
But I have a feeling people are going to want to hear what we have to say because we're so important.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you in the next. Hear you. Not even.
Whatever.
Next episode.
Next time.
Bye.